chat, you guys. This is going to be on the internet.
Remind me to tell you a traumatic story about something that happened to me that I realized last night. Is this thing on? Yeah. Hi.
Hello? Hello?
Hi, divas.
Hi, divas. Welcome
How
back.
are we,
Welcome
gorgeous
back. Welcome back.
girls? We have
You know
so
what I
much
was
energy
thinking
today.
about today?
What?
You don't.
Tell me.
I was like, when I was driving over here earlier, I was like, how funny is it that I am just like literally grilling myself publicly and just throwing myself out there publicly to allow people to annihilate me on social media
Right.
for my loosely held thoughts.
Loosely held thoughts.
Like I was legitimately like, I'm just fucking sabotaging everything I am as a person, but it's also like nothing matters.
Can I say something?
Nothing matters.
Okay, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who has very strong opinions that are vastly different from my own.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking the other day. He was talking about how the internet is the root of all evil. The internet is bad and it's rotting our brains. Da 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 da. Like
and you're like, the internet is the best thing in
we
the
know
world.
the argument, and I'm like, he's older, obviously, and so like I'm like a Gen Z, and I'm like, well, I feel differently about the internet, obviously, and so we're having that conversation, and he was saying that the problem with the internet is that everybody gets a voice and everybody has an opinion, and he was like, and to be completely honest, not everybody deserves a voice. And I feel differently about that because I feel like so many people are living their lives so publicly on the internet, and it allows us to connect and relate better. There's obviously a certain level of the internet that's very fake and very performative, but there's also like a lot of transparency in how people are living their lives, and it makes people feel less alone, like in their own heads, to know like, oh my God, I didn't know anyone else ever had that same thought.
Yeah.
Or things like that. And
that's deep.
I think that the internet is really gorge for that reason, and us like doing this and like airing out literally everything that happens in our lives on this podcast, it's just another example of that. And I don't know, I feel like it helps people relate and connect. And we're obviously, with the internet, you're missing that like physical human connection, but like people aren't as obviously transparent and open in real life.
Physical reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
1000%.
I love the internet for that reason.
And if I see another comment of someone saying not everyone should get podcast equipment,
Make podcast equipment more expensive.
It's like, what would your podcast be about? What the fuck would your podcast be about? What are you going to talk about? I dare you. What are you going to talk about?
What are you going to talk about? And like, it's not content you have to consume. Literally, no one's forcing you to consume it.
You know what? You know what I do?
What
do you know what I do?
Do I know what you do?
Okay.
What do you do?
This is what I get so many. Okay, so like when I first become like how do I say this? Like on TikTok, I don't comment on people's things because I have a life and I'm not a fucking loser. But like if I'm so disgusted by somebody on TikTok, like I'll look at their page and I'll just be like, okay, you're gross.
Mm-hmm.
And then for like forever, that person will keep coming up on my For You page or whatever, on my Explore page, whatever it's called. And I just block them now. Like I will block, like I'm the kind of person who like I will block some famous person because I don't want to look at they annoy me. Like I will block someone before I leave a bad comment and they block me.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to see, I don't care. Like this isn't like relevant for what I have to see. Like, there's this one disgusting gay guy on TikTok that's like, I'm renovating my $15 million house. And I'm like, no one cares. Like he's like, I just want to like, I'm like, no one cares. Your house is ugly. And like, like, do you know what I mean? I'm like,
I know
why do you keep coming up? Like, I don't want to look at this anymore.
Yeah, but that's also how people feel about us.
Then block us.
But the difference is that we don't leave nasty negative comments. But I'm going to stop us here because we've had this conversation a million times. We don't need to talk about how weird people are.
I'm just telling people, okay, I'm drunk. But but I'm just saying, It's literally 10:30 p.m. and me and Cedar went to a long dinner.
Not to mention it's also a Tuesday night.
Not to mention we just had the presidential debate.
Happy debate night,
and I
girls.
needed something to take the edge off.
Yeah. I haven't watched it. I do want to watch it. I want to
feel
be
like
informed.
we've been talking for literally 4 minutes and we've spoken a lot of words.
We've covered a lot of ground in this 4 minutes. It's been kind of gorgeous.
Should we wrap it up?
Yeah. Okay. It was so great speaking with you girls. Yeah, I do want to. I want to be informed. I want to watch the debate. I usually don't engage in politics, but okay. Also, this was a conversation Chris and I had earlier because I had a friend text me earlier and she was like, "Oh my God, the presidential debate is tonight. Should we watch?" And I was like, "Oh, the debate, like whatever." Didn't think anything of it. And then I was talking with another friend.
I've been like
in real life,
anticipating this and it's been stressing me out. I'm like, I need to watch this. I'm an adult.
I'm going to finish my story.
I just had to throw that in there.
And then in real life, I was talking to a friend in person and she was like, "Oh my God, the presidential debate is tonight." Or I actually said, I was like, "Oh my God, the presidential debate is tonight." Someone texted me saying we should have a watch party. And as I was saying that, as those words came out of my mouth, it clicked for me that this debate isn't Trump and Biden. This debate is Kamala and Trump. And I was like, holy fucking shit. This is actually a big deal.
It's historic.
This is more relevant than any debate has been in a long fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I will be watching this.
I watched about an hour of it.
I'm so surprised that you did that.
And I couldn't get off my ass to come over here because
you were watching it?
I was like, I was watching it. I was watching it.
How was it?
He is really embarrassing. Like, honestly, the way that he speaks is like disgusting. The way that he talks is disgusting. Aside from whatever his beliefs are, like if I had to, like, I'm obviously not an intelligent person in a lot of subjects and I'm not going to act like I fucking know shit about politics, but like there's in no world would I want someone who displays that type of energy to run the country that I am a fucking whatever citizen, person, constituent. What is it called? What is it called? Citizen. You're so scared. No, like it's embarrassing. It's disgusting. And then you pan over to Miss Harris and she's just like so calm and she's just like, "I'm for the people."
Mm-hmm.
She also like was kind of slang. She was like, "We have guns." She's like, "I'm not giving up my gun."
Did she say that?
It's like, go off, bitch.
Go off, babe.
It's like firearms, honey.
Okay.
First Amendment.
Okay.
Second Amendment.
Okay.
Third Amendment. Which one is that?
Who knows?
She was kind of reading him left and right and up and down, and I was there
and
for
we all
it.
expected that.
He wouldn't answer a question. He was nasty. He looked ugly as fuck with tiny hands.
That's the biggest thing for me. If you can't have a debate or a conversation without being nasty.
Oh, he said that she hates X, Y, and Z group of people. He said that she hates Biden. He said the word hates so many times, and I was like, that's a nasty word.
Yeah.
Please stop saying that.
Yeah.
Like to say hate.
It's also that's unprofessional.
Extremely.
Yeah. We didn't actually come on here planning to talk about this, but I actually love this conversation. But given that I haven't watched any of it, I feel like I shouldn't.
Yeah, you can't speak on behalf of President Trump. Okay, what should we talk about?
Hyperfixations with food.
Oh, that's a fun topic.
It's a really fun topic, and I know we all go through these little phases, and mine this past like week and a half has been chia seed pudding. Don't know why,
That's
but like
depressing. Mine's usually something of a little bit of an
something
indulgence.
fun, like
Yeah.
something nice, like yeah. No, but for some reason, well, it also started during my giardia. And I like couldn't nothing sounded appetizing and everything sounded
Do you want to
horrifying.
explain to the class what giardia is?
We did last
you do
episode.
that last time?
Yeah, catch up, Chris, would you?
I told you I'm drunk.
So if you guys haven't listened to last episode, which Chris obviously hasn't, we talked about how I think I had giardia from a camping trip, which is a little parasite that you get. That's like what you get when you drink the water in Mexico.
Giardia sounds so disgusting.
Giardia.
Giardia. It's like a mixture of
Like Gerard
gonorrhea,
Butler.
diarrhea, Ghirardelli, and like something else. It's like just a nasty word.
So I had like 5-6 consecutive days where I was painfully nauseous and nothing was helping or making it better. And like, I just, like, no food sounded good, but I also felt like I needed to eat something because I thought I was nauseous because I was like hungry.
Mm.
And it wasn't because I was hungry. It was because I was being eaten alive by parasites. But I just, like, I remembered I really love chia seed pudding, and it's so good for your digestive system and that fiber, babe. Like, it's really good for you. And so I have hyperfixated on chia seed pudding, and now I'm making it at home. I'm doing everything with it. I'm making it with coconut milk. I'm making it with kefir. I'm putting blueberries in it. Like, you can make chocolate chia seed pudding that's like actually not that unhealthy for you.
Just a little scoop of the like sugar-free Jello mix.
No, I used cocoa powder and then like a little bit of like agave or like maple syrup,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
Slay.
And either like in like some sort of like coconut milk or something like that. And it literally tastes like fucking chocolate pudding.
I'm obsessed with that.
It's really good, and you should try it.
I did go through a phase where I was having chia seed water for most meals.
Yeah. Were you letting it like soak?
I think that like unintentionally I was letting it soak because I would just get so full off a few sips, so I would have to kind of let it sit there, and then I would go back, and then when I would go back to it, like the chia seeds were doubled in size.
Yeah.
And I was like, so kind of unintentionally, yeah, but
Yeah.
I was extremely anorexic.
We've all been there.
But you know what? It was fine. My this is gonna sound bad, but like I have such a sensitive stomach that like when you're not feeling anything, it's such a great feeling.
It's
It's
really
a
great.
noticeable feeling. Like I am like the queen of belly aches. Like I have a tummy ache. I'm like, if you ask me what's up, I'm like, I have a tummy ache. Like I have a tummy ache. Like I have a tummy ache. That's what's up with me. Like
I wake up most mornings with a stomach ache.
I don't know how to live without having, like, we just had dinner and I'm going to be in pain for the next 24 hours.
We walked back from dinner, sat down on my couch, and Chris immediately said, "My stomach is bubbling."
Like, I have the most sensitive fucking stomach in the world. I should go see a doctor, but
Yeah, you probably have, what do all the girls have?
Giardia? Giardia?
No, the other one where it makes you shit all the time.
I don't shit all the time. Okay, cut this
Done
whole
with
thing
this
out.
conversation.
Okay, anyway,
Anyway.
I have a sensitive stomach
Yeah.
and get the fuck over it.
Anyway, food hyperfixations are a very real thing, but one thing that's been really enjoyable about me trying to recover from my giardia is that I, for some reason, haven't been craving sweets. And the worst thing about me, like probably my worst trait ever, actually, is that I fucking love sugar. I love sugar so much. I love sugar. And so obviously every night I deny myself sugar all day, every day. I
24/7.
won't put sugar in my coffee in the morning. I actually think it's gross to start my morning with like sugar. That creeps me out and it makes me feel heavy. And so I don't start my morning with sugar. So I deny myself sugar throughout the entire day. And then as soon as I eat dinner, I'm like,
Oh,
what
bitch,
do I have in this
it's
house?
game on.
Where is it? Where are the
Like,
chocolate
we
chips?
are opening
Like,
every
somebody
cabinet.
find
We
me
are
the peanut butter. I need sugar. Like, and when I was going through like a little bit of a little Anna moment, I was like denying myself sweets, and so I was doing frozen blueberries and milk, and then like putting agave in it, and like that was my like dessert. But
That sounds like disgusting.
it's actually really good. It's
Huh.
it's like a blueberry cereal. It's really good. Anyway, so I was doing that for a little while, but for some reason, for like the past 2-3 weeks, I've just been like, I don't
You haven't had
need
an
that.
appetite?
I haven't I don't have anything sweet in this household. And so like the past couple of nights it's finally started to like come back a little bit where I'm like I have dinner and I'm like, okay, what's sweet around here?
Yeah.
And I check each of my cabinets the same as I did the night before. Nothing has changed. I'm like, oh, I don't have anything sweet. But for some reason I've been like, okay, time to go to bed. I'm not like sprinting to fucking Ralph's at 1 a.m. to find myself some like chocolate chips and some peanut butter cups.
That's me.
And yeah, no, I
That's
used to be
me.
that way. And I really
Okay, bitch, used to be that way 3 days ago.
literally, and I do this every time I go through these phases where I'm like, I pray to God, I'm crossing my fingers, cross my fucking heart, hope to die. Like, I really hope that this sticks this time. And obviously it never does. But one can only dream, right? Tell me about your most recent and biggest and most incredible hyper fixations on food have been?
I think that I do this. I go through a hyperfixation with food, but I also equally go through it with like liquids. So not only will I be
I'm
obsessed,
having one right now, actually, now
not
that you
only will
mention
I
it.
be obsessed with I eat honey bunches of oats, which everybody knows about. Um, fuck, what was I obsessed with for a
Should we talk
while?
about those popsicles though? Because
Okay, I was getting to that.
I just remembered them because I realize how good they are actually.
I'm addicted to popsicles. I can't even classify it as a hyperfixation food. Like,
It's been happening long enough.
if I don't have, this is gonna make me sound obese. I feel bad saying that.
Really?
This is gonna make me sound like uh, I don't know. Actually, I don't care. But like, I need to have at least 1.5 popsicles per day. Like I need to have one popsicle a day. Typically it's two. I basically only have one popsicle if there's only one popsicle left. But like I need to have a popsicle every single day. It's the only thing besides my vape that like just does the trick for me. And it's always like last night I couldn't sleep. It was 11:30. I couldn't sleep. I literally got out of bed and I was like, I'm gonna go have a popsicle. Like I'm a fat little kid. I walked to the freezer, had a popsicle, ate it in bed, put the thing on my put the popsicle stick on my nightstand, fell asleep like a fucking child, woke up and I couldn't get that sticky popsicle stick off my nightstand.
Okay, but the thing about these popsicles though, because you have talked to me about these popsicles for
The Johnny
well
Pops.
over a year,
The Johnny
and
Pops.
you always
Oh
text
no,
me,
those are different ones. I brought you different ones.
"Oh, those aren't the ones you eat."
Honey, I eat any popsicle. I eat
Really?
any popsicle.
Okay, well, this is. I was about to justify your behavior, and now it's invalid. But I'm still gonna say what I was gonna
Oh no, the
say.
other ones are even better.
Well, okay, the thing about these popsicles, so you've been saying to me for well over a year, like you'll text me and you'll be like, I just ate 5 popsicles. And I'll be like, okay, like for me, that like a popsicle doesn't have enough substance to it to like satiate that need for whatever.
Yeah, to
And
itch that scratch.
exactly, like I need a chocolate cake. And
Or
then
5 popsicles.
a couple of weeks ago, if you guys follow us on Instagram, you saw in our story, I posted a story because Chris came over to my apartment to record an episode and he had an extra box of honey bunches of
I
oats in
brought
one
her honey
hand,
bunches of oats.
and in the other hand he had popsicles.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what am I gonna? I know I'm gonna eat the fuck out of these honey bunches of oats, and they were gone in 2 days, of course. And then the popsicles, I was like, what am I gonna do with these? I'm never gonna eat them. And then one night I ate one, and I was like, oh, these are good popsicles. But the thing about these popsicles is that they're not a regular popsicle. They're like hearty. Like they have big like strawberry chunks in them.
They're like the
Like
classic strawberry popsicles.
they're like I there's moments where like you bite off a little
It's
piece and you're
basically
chewing
like
on a
a
strawberry.
sorbet with popsicle with strawberry chunks in it.
It's a sorbet
You know what's
with
so funny?
a little wooden stick through it.
We just light up like trees when we talk about food. We just get so happy. We get so passionate.
That's
My
the
mouth
only
is
time
salivating. I'm at the edge of my
we
seat.
just had dinner. Like
I'm
we
like
just ate dinner and
I'm
we're
like
both
I thank you because I'm gonna have to go to fucking Ralph's on my way home and get.
well, you told the guy at the restaurant we didn't want dessert, and that was your
I was
decision.
gonna sit there and wait for like some like mediocre like almond something.
They have good dessert there, actually.
Well, you know what?
It's too late now, but anyway,
the popsicle.
we just came from dinner and
survive.
we're literally
My stomach is in
raving.
shambles. It's in knots, and all I can think about is food.
You know what I think my problem is? I
Hmm.
wake up every morning with a stomach ache, and I think a big part of it is gas pains. But I think also because I binge so heavily at night that when
Mhm.
I wake up in the morning, I'm like so full still from
But
dinner.
I wouldn't eat. I don't know. I feel like we're similar in like I go 5:50 a.m. until 5:50 p.m. with not putting a single piece of food in my body.
Yeah.
I don't have time, and I know if I eat something, I'm going to have a stomach ache and I'm going to get tired. So I don't eat anything during the day because it it's bad
It
for
kills
you.
the vibe.
It
It kills the
kills
vibe.
the vibe. Like
I lose productivity as soon as I eat.
as soon as food enters the chat,
Mm-hmm.
nothing else is happening.
And that's what
That's
pisses
why
me
we're
off where people are
flatlining
like
right here.
people are like you have to eat because it gives you energy throughout the day, and I'm like I don't feel that way.
Mm-mm.
I don't feel that way at all.
I'm really unhealthy. I'm really unhealthy. This
Well,
is not healthy.
we are the picture of poor eating habits.
I have really, really, really bad eating habits, and that's also why I have a deformed body. But also, like, I act, unfortunately, outside of this podcast, I work about 80 hours a week. No one would think that. But,
No one would think
like,
that.
it's so irregular when I'm able to eat and what
Yeah,
I can eat and what is, like, provided for me that I'm like, there's no point in trying to have any structure because it's impossible.
absolutely. I'm
And,
completely
like, what do
aligned.
you want me to do? Carry a lunch bag around?
No. Anyway, um, our topics are very different today. Maybe in the name of bad eating habits, I'll go first.
Okay.
Ask me the question.
Are you a lesbian?
I'm kind of questioning that.
Really?
Should we talk about that?
No, because you're
No,
not.
I'm not.
Are you hot or are you bothered?
Oh, okay. I'm hot. I'm hot this week
Period.
actually because listen, here's the thing. We rant and rave. We rant and rave about how much we love Adderall, and that's not a secret. For very good reasons. We both have ADHD allegedly. And we love Adderall. However,
Can I chime in? Can I please chime in?
what?
I took so much Adderall today on accident, you guys. I took so much Adderall today, and I usually I don't take Adderall after 1 p.m. I took an Adderall at 3 p.m., and I kid you the fuck not, from 3 p.m. until 6:30 p.m., I could have built the Great Wall of China. I was so productive at after 3 o'clock at work. I'm like, bitch, if you try to talk to me, like, it's not happening. I was calling people. Like, people were texting me and I was like, I just thought it would be easier to call you. I was like, you know what? It's too hard to explain this over text. Meanwhile, I'm talking to this lady for 15 minutes about a house that doesn't exist. And I'm like, I was so productive, but I got
Mm-hmm.
so much done. And I was like, should I do this every day?
That's the thing. I did that yesterday, but also, mm, I'm gonna backtrack. I'm gonna work backwards. Actually, I did that yesterday. I did
Okay.
that yesterday. I took some Adderall at 4 o'clock
Oh no, that's
p.m.
a death sentence. You need
I
Ambien.
No, I took Adderall at 4 o'clock p.m. and
4 o'clock
I
p.m.
conquered the world in my evening, in my afternoon, leading into the evening and into the night. I conquered the fucking world. Conquered the world. I've never been more productive in my life, and I was like, life is great. And I was talking to one of my friends, and I was looking at her, and I was like, my I can feel my eyes bulging out of my head. Like, this is not
Mm-hmm.
normal, but also I'm doing so many things and
Mm-hmm.
life is so great. And
It's meth.
it's
It's
meth.
meth.
Maybe it's Maybelline, maybe it's meth. And I obviously didn't sleep a lot last night, but I woke up this morning. Okay, so this is where I was going with this. So I have mental health issues, as we all know, and as the vast majority of us do. However, one of my mental health issues is OCD, and that usually manifests in like obsessive thoughts,
Mm.
and those can get really crazy. So I okay, every person who listens to this podcast is probably prescribed Adderall, and if you're not, then one thing you need to know about Adderall is your doctor always recommends that you take days off from it. Like, you're supposed to take 2
Never heard
days,
that.
maybe 3 days a week. You've never heard that.
I don't take it
Every
on the weekends unless I'm going out,
and
which is
that's
every night of the weekend.
that's what you're supposed to do. So every doctor usually recommends that you take days off from it because taking it consistently over a long period of time is not good for you. And I also had a doctor tell me one time that when you're like sick or feeling unwell or like ran down, don't take your Adderall because it like stunts your body's ability to recover from illnesses, which like
Makes sense.
makes sense, but it's a good thing to know. Um I haven't taken a day off from my Adderall in a while because I've been busy, very busy. And it's been a while, and like started noticing things were going wrong, and I started having, the thing about my OCD is it's only majorly present when other areas of my health is compromised, especially my mental health. So like if I'm feeling depressed or if I'm feeling really anxious, all of a sudden like my OCD is on 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I started falling into this obsessive pattern of convincing myself every day, guys, this is not a fucking joke. This is what happens in my brain on a daily basis. First of all, I convinced myself I had a brain tumor. Second of all, I convinced myself that if I thought about it too hard, I would cause myself to go spontaneously blind.
Oh, that's the scariest thing. I think about that sometimes.
I don't like, and these are reoccurring thoughts over the past like 10 days that have not left me alone. I have a brain tumor. I'm going to go spontaneously blind. I may have a stroke because I take birth control and I like nicotine sometimes. And so, like, one thing about birth control is you're not supposed to smoke cigarettes or like consume nicotine because it can cause blood clots. And I'm like, I'll have a stroke. And then I'm like, if I'm anxious after taking Adderall, I'm like, I'm having a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm like, my OCD has now manifested in, and I'm surprised it took this long to get to this point, but it's now manifested in like medical paranoia. And the thing about me and my physical health is when I think something's wrong with me, I'm always right. Like I had Lyme disease when I was, how old? 17. And I knew I had Lyme disease before I was even exhibiting any symptoms of Lyme disease. Literally just knew it, and I know my body that well.
You've
So
also done that with STDs.
I've also done that with STDs with no visible symptoms. I've done that with a lot of things. I've
Yeah.
done that like one time with like strep throat, where like anyway, I don't know. I always just know, even if there's no reason for me to know. And I, therefore, because I have that medical history with like knowing my body that well, when my OCD is telling me you're going to have an aneurysm in 5 seconds, I have no reason to believe that's not true.
Yeah.
And I was like texting some friends in a group chat the other day, and I was like, I am freaking out. I might have a brain tumor. And like one of my friends was like, okay, Cedar, you do not, like, simply put, you do not have a brain tumor. And actually just hearing that like made me feel so much better. But anyway, with all of that being said, I realized my anxiety was on 1,000, which was making my
Because of Adderall.
OCD so severe because I haven't taken a break from my Adderall.
Yeah.
So anyway, this week I'm hot because I enjoy the reminder, and I want to remind all of you, if you're due for a little break from your Adderall, please take it because it's not good for you and you can spiral so easily, and all the other reasons. And that's a little bit about me.
So you have OCD that manifests itself into medical ailments
Mm.
that don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But that's the problem with OCD, which is a very which
I'm
all
really
mental
like
illnesses are.
I'm really like, the thing is with OCD, I feel like it's so different for every single person, like the way that it manifests itself. And I feel like it's a really hard disorder to kind of like pinpoint,
Mm-hmm.
like for every person. Like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
everyone that I know that has OCD, it's like they don't realize it until like 5 years later or
Mm-hmm.
something, and then it's like, oh, everything makes sense, kind
Mm-hmm.
of.
And it's a refreshing moment of clarity when you either a like receive a diagnosis or when you have a realization.
Mm-hmm.
For me, when I realized I had OCD, I was 20. I may have been 21, and I had been plagued by these thoughts that like were horrifying, and like I actually like don't even talk about this with people because it's just like I don't even want to explain it. And it's just like it's something I just it's so negative and scary that it's like I don't even want to share it with other people. And so
Like,
I
talk about a hyperfixation.
absolutely
Yeah.
like that's like the real whatever. So I for months had
The
like
real
been
what?
having that's like a real life example, a real actual example of like we joke about hyperfixations. Like I've been enjoying chia seed pudding. We
Yeah.
call it a hyperfixation, but like OCD is like really a
Hyperfixating.
hyperfixation.
Yeah.
So for months and months and months I've been having these thoughts and I kept like asking myself like what the fuck is wrong with me? What the fuck is wrong with me? And I was also going through a really hard time in my life. And like what the fuck is wrong with me? Like why do I keep thinking this thought? And like why do I keep thinking about these things XYZ like whatever. And then I don't remember what it was that cued this thought, but like all of a sudden one day I was like, oh, and maybe I saw something about it on the internet. And then I was like, what does this mean? And I
Yeah.
started doing a little bit of research and I was like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
These thoughts aren't me. Like these thoughts don't define me. These thoughts aren't actually something that I think because obviously when I think them, I'm thinking to myself, why the fuck am I thinking this?
Yeah.
These thoughts don't define me. This is OCD. And
That's interesting.
so as like
So
that
that's kind of like a definitive, not a definitive, but like a, I guess a definitive moment or like thought that you can have to separate your thoughts from
yeah.
OCD.
So for a few months I actually like I don't want to say like cured myself of it, but I was able to like kind of
Practice things that would minimize it.
reminding myself like when I
Mhm.
have those thoughts like I'm not my thoughts. That's just a fleeting thought. It doesn't deserve any of my attention. There was like a few techniques and strategies that I'd like seen on the internet when I was doing my little bit of research on this
Mhm.
that was able to soothe that and I actually felt better for
Mhm.
months. Then the pandemic happened
Oh God.
and then
Downward spiral.
with the during the pandemic I was fine, but then the aftermath of the pandemic I was like when the vaccine came
And like
out and all
acclimating
of
back
those
to real life.
things and like then
Yeah.
then I started to like run into trouble.
Yeah.
And even then it was like a little bit of like medical anxiety, but it was mostly other things. But I was like severely depressed, really anxious, like had all these other things going on in my life, like really bad seasonal depression because I was still living in New York. So my OCD was like at an all-time high. And then that's when I finally was like, I need therapy. I need to do things to like make
Do
myself
you feel
better.
like these external factors like seasonal depression and like things going on in your life are amplifying your OCD, or do you feel like your OCD is amplifying those feelings?
No, I think those things are amplifying my OCD.
Okay.
So like for the most part because like a lot of my mental illnesses and like mental well-being, I guess, was determined by my circumstances. At the time I was living in New York and I just wasn't happy there
Mhm.
because I was depressed, seasonal depression and all the other
Hated
things,
your
and then
job.
was unhappy at work and also just my quality of life wasn't as good
Yeah.
because I was lacking a lot of things that I wanted
Mhm.
and I like hadn't understood that yet. And so I was just like I was just unhappy. I was just unwell. And then because I was unwell and because I was depressed, because I was anxious and I was obviously taking too much Adderall and whatever, it was just bad. And it was all a bad combination that just made my OCD worse and my
Were
OCD
you
just
like,
feeds off of that.
do you think you were trying to take more Adderall to like feel more productive and to like do more things and to feel better about yourself and to like progress and propel? Because I feel like that's kind of what the stereotype of like the positive side effects of Adderall are. Do you feel like you were taking Adderall in order to like feel better and then it was just making you feel worse?
No, unfortunately, it actually wasn't that. It was I had to because of the job I was at.
Mhm.
Like I couldn't be productive in the way that it's like steroids. Like
Yeah.
it's like an athlete
Oh, honey,
taking
I know.
steroids, you know?
Baby
Like
girl.
I couldn't perform the job that they were expecting me to perform because it's like not realistic. Like it's not realistic for a human to perform that way at a
Mhm.
career that like that they were asking. And
That's paying $2 a
our
year.
and our whole team at that specific job, we all took Adderall.
Mhm.
And we noticed when our boss was pregnant because she wasn't being as productive and we realized she wasn't taking her Adderall. And I was like, she's fucking pregnant. And it was so normal. And then I left that job and I moved to LA and I was working at another job and I was like, oh yeah, Adderall. And I realized no one around me took Adderall and I was like, whoa, this is a culture change. So anyway, that's beside the point. So I was spiraling and giving myself daily panic attacks because I thought I was just like gonna spontaneously like keel over for
Mhm.
literally no reason. And I realized I just need to take a break from my Adderall. So that's all I came here to say was if you're prescribed Adderall, just don't forget to take your breaks because sometimes it can do more harm than it can good.
And I'm here to say sometimes take 50% more than
Sometimes.
like and see what happens. Maybe do that once in a blue moon, once a month.
I do want to say yesterday I took a lot and that's when I took Adderall at 4 p.m. and I was rolling and I was like I went to go to bed last night and was obviously
Not going to bed.
I was on my phone and just awake and I was like maybe I should commit to just going to bed. The second I put my phone down, I fell asleep.
Ugh,
And
what a
then
luxury.
I know, and I only slept like 5 hours last night, but then I woke up this morning and like
And she was still kicking.
I was just like that, rolling out of bed, doing my things, getting ready for work, da 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 da, like doing all these things. And I also like didn't have an appetite until like much later in the day today. And I was like, am I still just high as fuck off the Adderall I took at
That's
4
amazing
p.m.
that you could
yesterday?
fall asleep. I mean, you don't take that much though.
I don't take that
What do you take,
much.
like 5 milligrams?
No, I took at 4 p.m. yesterday, I took 10 milligrams, but my body is so sensitive to substances.
Yeah,
I need like a fraction of what other people need. I don't know why maybe it's something to do with the red hair, I don't know, but
probably.
anyway. So that's my thing. That's what's going on with me.
Well, I love that for you. I'm happy that you overcame your depressive New York experience.
Yeah, hopefully these like fears of spontaneously combusting will subside. Okay,
Well, that's a
anyway.
sleigh.
Yeah. So where were we? Just a friendly reminder, take care of your mental health. Don't depend on drugs. But do a little bit, but just not to that extent. And anywho, with all that being said, let's shift gears big time. Big time.
Big time shifting gears.
Chris, are you hot? Are you bothered?
I'm bothered this week,
Okay.
but I can't tell. I can't figure out why exactly I'm bothered.
Okay.
So I'm bothered because I feel like I've never really understood when people are like, "Oh, I'm just so like comfortable being single," or like, "Oh, like I I've never been that person because I've always like enjoyed dating so much and I've been in a relationship for the vast majority of my early 20s. So I've just never really like resonated with that thought or really understood what people meant by that, but I feel like I'm almost there. And a part of me is bothered because I don't want to be that person and I want to like enjoy like dating and I want to like kind of always have like just kind of be like hopeful, not like a hopeless romantic, but like you know what I mean, just like take a little bit of joy and it's fun to date people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like we obviously know it's fun to date and whatever. That's literally what this whole podcast is about. But like I feel like I'm like not encouraged to do that right now
Mhm.
and I'm just like so I'm bothered because I feel like I'm turning into that, but I'm also bothered because I'm like I don't want like to be not single. You know? Like I
Mhm.
don't want to be I don't want to have to this is going to sound really bad and really selfish, but I think that a lot of people go through this, so I don't give a fuck and I'm like I'm 28 years old, I'm a gay man, I don't care. I'll probably regret this next week and say that I'm in love with somebody, so fuck off. But like I don't want to have to like think about somebody or like put their emotions in front of mine. Like I don't have time to fucking babysit. Like
Mhm.
I can't do any of that. So I'm bothered because I'm like I don't want to turn into this, but then I'm also bothered because I'm like no, like leave me alone. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
You know? So and I'm also like an extremist, so like if I lean into this, then I'm going to be like really take on that identity and like kind of make that my personality, which I don't really think that I want to do.
Mhm.
But I've just been like I don't know. I don't go on Hinge. I don't go on
Mhm.
Grinder. I don't even like. I haven't even opened Raya in God knows how long.
This has transpired over the past 2 weeks.
Not really.
I'm kidding.
Like, but really, like, who new have I introduced?
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Like, I haven't. There's no one in circulation. Like, it's really been like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Like, I really haven't added new people. I haven't like hooked up with anyone. I haven't.
You whispering that?
Like one
I haven't hooked
person,
up
but
with
it's like
anyone.
not
Mhm.
doesn't count.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I don't want to like I don't want to have to change my life for someone.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I've worked so hard the past 2 years to like become comfortable with myself and like establish in my career, and it just seems like a really big inconvenience to kind of like insert someone new into like the life that I built for myself. And I know that at some point I'll be ready for that, but right now I just feel like I'm kind of like just vibing. Like I'm kind of comfortable being alone and on my own, but I'm really afraid like I have these like intrusive thoughts where I'm like, okay, I'm so comfortable with just being alone, and
Mhm.
just doing my own thing and not having to like report to anyone or do anything. Like I don't want to get too comfortable doing that because then like
You might just be alone
I'm
forever.
gonna literally be alone for the rest of my life,
Mhm.
and then I see these people that I know that are alone for their entire lives
Yeah.
that are miserable fucking cunts, and I'm like, that could never be me.
Yeah.
And and then I get freaked out, and I'm like, no, like I need to find the love of my life immediately. But I don't know. It's weird that I'm like identifying as someone in this category personally for myself right now.
I feel like it's honestly kind of a common and I'm saying I think this might be a common thing just because this is something that I've observed in myself and now you're saying it. And so like it's a common thing.
Mhm.
But I feel like this might be a common thing that people go through, especially in like the second half of their 20s. And like our society has shifted a lot, and it doesn't help that we live in a major city. But our society has shifted a lot where like people used to get married when they were 20 and like
Mhm.
have kids right away and whatever. And our society isn't doing that as much anymore. And there's still an element of that, but especially in areas like this one, people don't get married as early and they don't have kids as early and whatever. And so our 20s, even up until probably like our early 30s, are allegedly like are the best years of our lives. Those are our
Mhm.
free years, right? And so like I've always looked at it from that perspective. Like I'll probably like late 20s, somewhere in there, like maybe into my mid 30s, will meet someone and settle down. So right now I'm just enjoying being single. And then I have these moments where I realize how much I enjoy being single. And I'm like, what if I don't ever grow
Grow
out of
out of
that?
that.
And I do have a moment of fear where I'm like, I might just be single forever. But then I'm also kind of at a point where I'm making peace with that. And I know that that's kind of a crazy thing to say. I'm only 26 years old. Like, there's a lot of years left ahead of me, hopefully, knock on wood. But like, it's it's possible, but both things are possible. Like I could meet someone tomorrow and get married eventually, or I could just be single forever. But for some reason, and I think it's because probably because of social media and then just societally, like a lot of women are understanding that they don't find value in
Mhm.
heterosexual
Yeah.
partnerships, and a lot of women are just choosing to be single. And so that provides me with some comfort knowing that there are a lot of people that have lived their lives single and have been happy. Like
Mhm.
that is possible. Like you don't have to have a partner to find happiness. But
That's another thing that I'm like it's like such a catch 22 because then I'm like personally for me I'm like I don't give a fuck about society and society norms and whatever. I'm just thinking for myself, if I start telling myself that I'm comfortable with being single, and if I start like if I have one so like kind of back to my like point that I always bring everything back to of like manifestation. If I like tell myself that I'm comfortable and I'm happy, being alone, which is like healthy to a certain extent, if
yeah,
I tell myself that, then I'm going to like spiral that, and then that's going to be like my extreme, and then I'm going
right.
to be not letting potential good lovers into my life because my mind is so fucking
Like tunnel vision.
tunnel visioned on that thought.
Yeah.
And then I'm also like, yeah, I don't know. I forgot the second half of what I was going to say, but
Perfect.
yeah, what were you saying?
Okay. There's also a certain element of it too that for me I find to be a personal issue. A lot of life happens when you're single.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of life, especially when you're in your 20s. I feel like this is age discrimination. Like life happens other years as well, but
For sure.
a lot of life happens when you're single. And there's like you were mentioning earlier, like being considerate of another person. And
It takes so much energy.
it takes so much energy, but also you do have to limit what you do to a certain extent.
1000%.
May I provide an example using my ex-boyfriend? Okay. So
Do I have a choice?
no, you don't. So my ex-boyfriend was much older than me, as we all know. And I'm not just talking about any ex-boyfriend. I'm talking about the ex-boyfriend that I never shut the fuck up about. And he was much older than me. And when we first started dating, there was every ounce of my being, every ounce of my body was like, I've met the person I'm meant to be with forever.
Yeah.
And one night he and I were at dinner, and I said to him, I was like, I met you and I have no doubt that you and I are meant to be together, but part of me does have this underlying fear of like missing out on parts of life because of that. Because
sure.
I've met my soulmate or my whatever, like there's parts of my life that I won't have those experiences because I've met my soulmate so young.
Yeah.
And I use soulmate loosely. I don't really know what term I'm comfortable with using, whatever. Anyway, and he literally said to me, he was like, I've actually had that same thought and I do have that fear for you as well. And then basically the end of the conversation we both came to the conclusion that we were like, whatever's meant to happen will happen and whatever. So we break up.
Not right after that conversation.
We break up a long time later. And there was one night specifically after our breakup. It was probably like 4 or 5 months after we had broken up. And I was visiting my hometown and I was out with my sisters and they were single as well. And we had met up with this group of guys. Like we were out at the bar. We met this group of guys that were like out on a bachelor party. And we were all having so much fun. The bar was closing. We didn't want to go home. We went back to their place, continued partying with them, continued drinking with them, etc. And there was no romantic interest. There was nothing weird going among any of us. We were all
but
just
it's just
vibing
like
out
those
and having
simple,
fun.
fun, innocent nights that like you wouldn't have
I
been able to partake in.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
You
it would
wouldn't
have
have
felt
had
weird,
that like
and
fun bond with your sisters. You would have had anxiety. You would have like, I'm speaking for you,
You
but
are.
yeah, I know exactly the fucking feeling.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's like, I would have felt if I was in that position and I was in a relationship, I would have felt a sense of guilt, or maybe
Yeah.
maybe I would have just gone home
Or
and
you
like
just
let my
wouldn't have
sisters.
had as much fun. You wouldn't have been as involved and
Yeah.
present in the
Yeah.
situation.
And so for me, it's always been it's not been about missing out on other people or other potential partners. It's been about just experiences
Yeah.
in general that you just can't have when you're in a relationship. And for some people they can, but for most people that's not reality. And so there is a certain element of like wanting to be single to make sure you're living your life. But then I also, with that same thought, am like, what if I end up with fucking Peter Pan syndrome and next thing I know I'm
That's
50
literally
years
my
old
biggest fear.
and partying like
Yeah.
I'm 20
And you're fucking delusional
and I'm
and you're
delusional
disgusting.
and I still think, oh,
Yeah.
well, I'm just not ready to settle down.
Yeah.
That's the last type of person that I
Yeah.
ever want to be on this earth. Like that
Yeah.
is not somebody I want to be.
You know what's interesting? You were talking about having this certain situation with your sisters and just like having a good night and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I was talking about being present. And when so obviously you have those moments where you're in a relationship and you're not present and you feel like you're, being a bad friend or whatever because you're not like fully immersing yourself in the situation and like, giving them your undivided attention. And I felt like when I was single, when I was like 21, like 20, 21, 22, and I was single, um, for backstory, like I had a boyfriend in college, and then I was single like my early 20s, and then 22 I 20 how I don't even know. I was like 21, 22 until I was like 26, 27. But during that period in between the two guys, like I felt like, well, one, I broke up with my college boyfriend basically because for a million reasons, but this was one of them. It was because I was like, I just want to spend time with my fucking friends, and like I
Yeah.
feel like it's just stressing me out.
You
Like
wanted to live your
I was
life.
just like, this is like, we're not getting married. We're literally 18, 19 years old. Like I'm gonna go fucking party. And so I had like this huge guilt that I was like being a bad friend. And then when I was single, mind you, I was literally 20 years old. When I was single, and me and my friends, we were absolutely crazy. Like we would, go out 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
And literally every single time that we would go out, I would just be like, I need to go find boys. Like I need to go find a man. I need to go find boys. Like, and I wouldn't be present in this situation. And this is 100 times worse than not being present in this situation when you have like a normal fucking boyfriend or girlfriend or partner or whatever. But like, I literally would just like be texting guys. Like I wouldn't be
Yeah.
paying attention to anything. I was so fucking annoying. Like I
Just
would
boy crazy. Like
boy
can't focus
crazy.
on
Like I
anything
would
else.
ignore everyone. I would leave everyone. I would find anywhere, we would be anywhere. I'd be like, I'm gonna go.
Where's the boys?
Like
Show
I
me
would
them.
find, like I remember like literally making out with 8 people in one night at a bar. I've like done that before. I've like left. We've been like at a bar at a hotel. I've left to go to some guy's hotel room. Like I was a fucking feral slut, and like, but I basically broke up with my boyfriend to like go spend time with my friends,
And then you
and then I
still
was
weren't.
ignoring them 5 times, as I was essentially using them to go find guys. Like
Yeah.
it was so bad. But at the age that I'm at right now, I'm like I remember like I came home from, for example, Coachella, and everyone was like, who'd you like hook up
Who was
with?
your
Like
Coachella
who'd you get, like
boyfriend?
who'd you
Like,
do that?
yeah.
Like every time I go on a trip, like when I was in Dubai, like I don't even know, like every trip that I've gone on in the past year, everyone's like, and I'm like, I didn't think
That
about.
wasn't a priority.
I literally like I was like I didn't think about. I was like I didn't have time to think about. So I was having fun. Like
Yeah.
I was.
Being fucking
I was
present.
like literally
God
enjoying my
forbid.
fucking time with my best friends and just like living my life. Like you couldn't put the hottest guy in front of me. I would have been like, do my friends
Okay,
like
I'm
you?
busy.
Like
Like I'm
I'm
busy.
like I don't know. Do you know who? Like
Yeah.
who are you friends with? Like what's up? Like I don't know. I'm just not there, and I don't know. I feel like there's like kind of a happy medium between the two in a way.
But we're
More
extremists,
we
so
are, but like not that I don't know, but that's just a thought. Like I used to be crazy.
something I think about a lot though too is that people always say like love always finds you and you're not looking for it. And that's also the reason part of the reason why I thought my ex-boyfriend was the one, because
Mhm.
when I met him I was like fully just doing my own thing. I was really in it, just
Mhm.
doing my own thing. And I was like, fuck, I mean, people always do say that. And I wasn't looking for a boyfriend, but this is my
Mhm.
husband. And so then I think about that sometimes too, where like I've gotten so comfortable being single and I'm like, is there another level of comfort being single that I haven't reached yet where like then you maybe meet your partner? And I'm like, because if it gets any further than this, I don't think there's any coming back.
1,000%. I also have a question.
Tell me.
Like you have talked about like, okay, this is my person, like you're my soulmate, da 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 da. Do you ever get nervous that like because you've experienced that before, do you ever get nervous that like no one's gonna make you feel that way again? Like
Every day of my life.
like there's like no I don't think that I will experience that again with someone.
Let me tell you
And I'm at
something
peace with that. And I
jarring
think
and
that it's going to be
disappointing,
a different, if I ever find someone, I think it's going to be like
really different. It
really,
might be enjoyable, but it
I think it's
is
going
going
to
to be really
be,
different.
but I'm also like not in the headspace where I'm going to just like blindly fall in love with somebody and be like, oh my
Yeah.
God, like I love you. Like, no, I'm
Just
not going to do that. With who? I didn't. No, that took time. And then it was really good for a little while, and then it was terrible.
carry on.
Fuck you. Um No, that
You're-
was it. That was it. I just feel like that's such like a beautiful moment, and it's like that's never gonna happen again.
yeah. Yep.
I'm blacked out.
I was going to say something. I don't remember what it was, but I feel that way as well often. And one of the most jarring experiences for me after us, once again, talking about our ex boyfriends and our past relationships, um, the first, picture this. You get out of a relationship with a man who dotes over you and is obsessed with you.
Mm-hmm.
And the very next person that you have romantic interest with is spit in my mouth man. That was an experience where I was like,
you know what we need to do?
I'll never find. Hold on. There was literally one day where I had a fight with spit in my mouth man, and he called me and we were on the phone and I started crying and I was like, no one is, I literally said to him, I was like, I don't understand why you're acting this way. My ex-boyfriend used to do XYZ. I was crying to him over the phone because he wasn't my ex-boyfriend, essentially.
We need to like pat ourselves on the back for like how far along we've come.
Have we come very far? We're a year and a half in, 2 years in, we're a year and a half in, and still talking about our fucking ex-boyfriends
No, but
on this
I just
podcast.
think like when you first break up with someone, you're like just trying to fill a void and distract yourself.
And now we're celibate.
And now we're celibate.
And now we're celibate.
And now we're celibate.
Yeah. Like I said last episode, it's been well over a month since I've had sex. And I was texting my friends earlier in a group and I was like, I need to go out and I need to flirt with men, but I don't want a single one of them to touch me. I want to just go around and flirt with a few different people and fill that little but no one can touch me. I don't want anyone to come near me. I don't want anyone to even think about me after I've left. Like, I'm going to be single forever. I'm going to be single forever.
I think that I will as well.
Yep. So we're fucked.
I think we're fine.
I don't know. We'll probably hit, like, I imagine we'll hit, I'll be 32. You'll be 600 and we'll probably meet the loves of our lives. It'll be great. It's going to be gorgeous. And then we'll just die happy, maybe. But people don't. Like, I see a lot of old people that are single these days, and I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Because when you grow up, you don't.
I'm fully
like,
spiraling right now. That's why I haven't said
alone-
anything.
Dying
The
alone
thoughts
doesn't
in my
seem.
head right now.
When you're young, dying alone doesn't seem like an option. But then once you're an adult, like, I know a lot of old people that are very
spiraling.
single.
We're spiraling.
Okay.
We're spiraling. We're not talking about this right now.
I'm actually fine. You're the one that's not well. We've been
You're
recording
like
for
dying
time.
alone is fine. You're like, I know a lot of old people. I'm gonna die alone.
I'm
at
feeling
peace with
painfully
that.
optimistic about it. But this is why, and I'm always a little bit farther gone than you are in terms of these things. We're usually you're slow to catch up. You will catch up and you'll be fine with it in about 2 weeks, and then I'll be in love with someone and getting married, and then it'll happen. Everything's gonna be fine. We have to hang up. What's their homework? Tell them their homework.
You guys, I don't know. I'm thinking about so much stuff right now.
The way
My
you were just staring
body
into the
is
void.
in pain. My head is in pain.
Okay.
What am I gonna do?
Stop.
Am I gonna be single for the rest of my life? No one cares. No one cares.
We're still in our 20s. We are still in our 20s. There's a lot of time left. Right?
No.
Please give them their homework.
Okay, I'm like literally losing my
No, I
marbles right
know.
now. I've lost them.
We need to hang up and hit the vape, and then
The homework for tonight is
take a break from your.
I need to be resuscitated.
Take a break from your Adderall.
Or 50% up one day. Take a break or just level up one day, so the rest of the days you're like basically
They
taking
seem
a
normal.
break. Yeah, you're basically taking a break.
Yeah. Take a break from your Adderall. Just take care of your mental health. If you think you
Don't take it on Sunday.
If you've convinced yourself that you have a brain tumor, then just skip your Adderall on Sunday and everything will be fine. Also, perhaps don't die alone.
don't get comfortable being single. Actually, I would
Find the
suggest
happy medium for
for anything.
Get comfortable being single, but find the happy medium on behalf of us because we obviously don't know what it is. Also, let us know if you guys feel this way as well because now I'm feeling terrified. Okay, girls.
Oh my God,
we
I'm
love
dripping
you
sweat. I
so,
love
so,
you.
so
Thank you.
much.
Sorry.
Everybody have a beautiful, beautiful
I'm
week.
having an existential crisis right now.
I know. So we're going to go and we're going to talk to you next week.
Politics. We talked, oh my God.
We're going to be married next week. It's going to be fine and not to each other. We love you. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Please
and
pray for me.
take care of yourselves.
Please,
Okay.
please. Bye.
Bye.